Hello. All right. Now we're going to talk about minors. Okay. We're going to talk about where minors live on our fiddle neck. This is going to be minor. Okay. So before we talked about two kinds of minors scales. One was Aeolian and the other was Dorian. And so to build an Aeolian minor, what did we do? I'm going to go through this a touch quickly, but if you want to review, I spent some time on it in a previous video. Feel free to review. So 1 to 2 was a whole step, 2 to 3 was a half, 3 to 4 was a whole, 4 to 5 was a whole, 5 to 6 was a half, 6 to 7 was a whole, and 7 to 8 was a whole. Okay? And so what would that look like on this instrument? So we're going to do A. We're going to do A minor, A Aeolian. I'll just put a little A here. Minor. Okay? And we're going to find what our for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th, and 8th notes are going to be. Now we know at this point you can probably guess what our 1 and 8ths are going to be. Those are going to be A's and A. Okay? So if we move up this, we know we're going to start on an A note. And so on this handy dandy fiddle I have here, like we talked about on the A major video, here's an A note. Okay, review that and I'm going to move a bit quicker than I did in the previous video. Just if you have any issues, please review that. Okay, so this is A. And then we'll whole step up to get to our second note here. See? Oop, oop. That's a B. And you'll see here we move A, whole step between 1 and 2 to get to B, which is going to be number 2. Move a half step to get to number 3, which is going to be C. Whole step to get to number 4, D. Whole step to 5, E. Half step to 6, half to 6, F. Whole to get to 7, G. And whole to get back to 8, which equals 1, A. Okay, so this is Aeolian minor. Sorry for the earthquake there. Okay, here we go. So we're at A, whole step to get to B, and then that half step to get to C. See how they're touching? You know, that half step sound of Jaws. Okay? A, B, C. And then our next note up is going to be a whole step, and so it's going to be a D note. We have the choice of either playing it with our 4th finger, same as we did in A, or jumping over to a D. Sorry. There we go. So that 4th note is going to be a D. So we have the option of jumping over to our D, open D, or playing with our 4th finger. We'll jump over to open D and continue on up. 1st finger, the 5th note. 5th note is going to be an E. Whole step up from D. Then we got a half step up from E to get to our 6th note. Here, half step, touching. Jazzy sort of sound. Then a whole step up to G. See the spacing? And then I could play it with my 4th finger, but for the sake of intonation, I'm just going to play it over here on A. And that takes me from A to A, which is a full octave. Okay? And then it continues on. So we know we do a A, whole step to B, half step up to our next note, 3rd note, C, whole step to D, 4th note, whole step to E, play it 4th finger or over here. So we'll do E, and then a half step from 5 to 6, so from E to F. We'll play that F right there against that nut because it's just a half step. Jump up with my, jump a whole step up for the 7th note, the G. And then a whole step up to get back to A. And again, I could keep going up the neck. Okay, so that's Aeolian. The Dorian minor would be what pattern? We talked about it just being reversed between here, here, and here. Okay? And so, to save us a bit of time in this video, we're just going to find those notes, which are the 5 and the 6, right? So, here are the 5 and the 6, and the 7. Because it's really just about that little passage there that really matters. To change something from the Aeolian to a Dorian scale, it's about what you do with that 6th note in your scale. And so let's get back up there to our 6th note. And so I'm going to count for us here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, Aeolian, I played a half step here to make an F. In Dorian, watch this, I move it up a half step to play an F sharp and continue then the same pattern. So that F sharp, G, so there's going to be just a half step between my 6 and my 7 here, and a whole step between the 5 and the 6 in Dorian. G, A, B, which is the same thing as 7, 8 or 1, so I'm going to start all over. 1, A, 2, B, C, 3, D, 4, E, 5, and here we go then, 6 again. So in Aeolian, it's F. In Dorian, you just move it up to F sharp. So in Dorian, it would be F sharp, G, A, and so on up the neck. And so what I really want to point out right here is that although these things have kind of funny sounding names, and we'll discuss more about modes later on or something, the concept itself is really just about counting up notes and moving something, say, one little half step here and there. Okay? So, if you were like me and the first time you heard the words Aeolian and Dorian, you were like, well, I'm done. There's no need for me to continue on. But now, just look at how simple it is. All you got to do is change one note, and you're going from one of the minor scales over to the other, just by understanding that you change the sixth note in the scale and you push it up one little half step to make it Dorian as compared to Aeolian. So Aeolian, we'll just do it there from the A to A. Dorian, exact same thing. Look at that, exact same thing until I get to this note, and all I got to do is that little move, G, A, to take me to Dorian. Same way up here, A, B, C, D, E, Aeolian, F, G, A, Dorian, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A. And that's so, just something like that, where it's just one note, even though the words sound complicated or like the number. If you understand, just the basics of numbers and scales and, what note gets what number, then it simplifies everything so much, because all you have to know is you change the sixth note, you push it up half a step, and you're playing you take a Aeolian minor, or take any Aeolian minor really, and you push that sixth note up a half a step, and you're playing a Dorian minor scale. Now, that might not, if that means something to you now, great. If it doesn't, I would suggest you go listen to, say, Minor Swing by Stefan Grappelli and Django Reinhardt to hear what a Dorian minor sounds like, or some parts in Bluegrass in the Bluegrass in the Backwoods by Kenny Baker, to get a feel for how that imparts some character into the minor tune, into the minor sound. So I hope that's helpful. And good news is, just as a little, just as a little way to show what's coming up, a lot of these scales can actually be used to add bluesiness to the song too, when you're flattening threes, or flattening sevens, or flattening other things. And so this is really the basis, just understanding that when you change, make, say, a third note a little sharper, a half step sharper, or half step flatter, or a fifth note, or a seventh note, is where you start being able to talk about how to play the blues, how to play modal, how to play all these different ways that attract us to this instrument. So, those are minor scales. We're going to keep going, and this is the beginning. All right, everybody. Thank you.